Americans gathered around the feast. A veritable cornucopia of harvest and game, a gastronomic monument to the bountiful biodiversity of the land. And while Mrs. Standish's cranberry sauce was a far cry from the homogeneous, gelatinous, cannon-printed, sacrosanct blob, which has become the holiday's sine qua non, the rest of the food was good. That delicious debacle of a sentence was the 2013 winner of the Bulwer-Lytton contest. The Bulwer-Lytton contest is a contest every year for the worst beginning lines in literature. It is so named for Edward Bulwer-Lytton, the one who penned "It Was a Dark and Stormy Night." Now, there are many things that went wrong with that sentence, I think we can all agree. But the one that I want to focus on is the first tip that I had. This speech is about 3 tips for writing better, and my first one is do not give in to thesaurus-itis. I love the thesaurus. It is a fantastic book, but much like food and fire, where in moderation it is excellent, in excess it gets really dangerous, as we just saw. So, my suggestion to you is, if you pick up a thesaurus and you've used it in the sentence already, don't use it again. The second tip that I want to give you relates to this because sometimes you need a thesaurus for this tip. So, the second tip is what I call show, don't tell. Show, don't tell gets used a lot, and nobody ever explains to you what it actually means. Here's how it goes. We use the words think, like, know, or want almost all the time in our writing. If you read a page, you will see at least one of those words at least once and possibly more than once. One way to fix this is to go to the thesaurus, and I endorse that. Another way, a better way, is to substitute in an action for what a person is thinking, wanting, or liking. For example, Natalie wanted to speak up. Could be, Natalie sat at the edge of her chair, her feet tapping, waiting for the current speaker to sit down. Now we know a lot more about Natalie and what she wants and her body language, but we've left it to the reader to imply that she wants to speak. And that shows a lot more respect for our readers, which is good. We should respect our readers. It also goes with the theme of it goes with the theme of more is more sometimes, which we don't hear very often, but it is sometimes true in writing. However, more is less is also true in writing, and that leads to my third tip, which is my most fun one. So my third tip is about epithets. Epithets are curses and or descriptions. And this rule can be divided into 2 sub-rules. The first sub-rule is be Shakespeare. So Shakespeare was a master at the epithet. He was the one who came up with such timeless jewels as thou cream-faced loon. My point is that the epithet is useful when it is used in dialogue. You can curse out whoever you want in a story. You should do it creatively because it's just better that way. But you can call anybody a rapscallion. You can say, thou fustian. Whatever you want, go for it. The epithet you should not be using is the descriptor, and this rule can be called one of 2 things. It can be called either, you are not a grave marker, or do not be Homer. Epithets are good on grapes. We like dearly beloved father. We like that, that's good. We don't really like that in our stories. The epithet became popular sometime around who only knows BC, when Homer was sitting around a fire telling an 800-hour story. Well, as you can imagine, when you're sitting around a fire telling an 800-hour story, people might get confused about your characters. So if you have a character and you've got, Ulysses or Odysseus, whatever you so choose, and he's your handsome hero, and you want to say Odysseus, the handsome hero, every time you mention him, okay. Or if you've got Penelope, your very patient wife, and you want to say Penelope, the patient wife, every time you say her, got it. About 1 billion years later, when the English first decided to write the novel, which was about 1 billion years after the Japanese decided to do it, they made the horrible mistake of bringing this into written language, which just isn't good. So what you've got now is people who have this tendency, you will see it all over in bad writing, the lovely lady crossed to the room to the knavish knight. Well, I can guarantee you that the lovely lady was introduced as Lucinda 8 chapters earlier, and what's more, we probably already know that she's lovely. We've probably been told that in great detail. We've also been introduced to Nate 7 chapters earlier and have been told of his knavish exploits. So, just say, Lucinda crossed to the room to Nate. Your audience will be thankful, I will be thankful, the world will be thankful.